Rain was falling when Mara Quinn received the news that would fracture her world. Sitting in the cold hospital ward, clutching her medical report with trembling hands, she heard the words no one is ever prepared for: Stage 3 lymphoma. The diagnosis alone was heartbreaking, but what hurt even deeper was what came next. When she looked up, searching for comfort or hope, all she met was procedure and policy. The doctor, wearing a starched white coat and an empty expression, delivered a sentence colder than the disease itself, without upfront payment. Treatment cannot begin. There was no softness in the voice, no humanity in the eyes. Just rules, just bills, just rejection. In a place meant to save lives, Mara felt invisible, like survival had a price tag she could never afford. In that moment, she realized she wasn't just battling cancer. She was battling a world where compassion often comes secondary to currency. And as hope slipped through her fingers, one truth echoed louder than her pain. Harold stood beside his daughter, a man weathered by life but never defeated until now. When Mara was diagnosed, he didn't think twice. He started selling pieces of his world, one by one. First went his old pickup truck, the one that had carried memories of family road trips and decades of hard work. Then his toolbox, worn but precious, a symbol of years spent fixing what was broken. And when even that wasn't enough, he surrendered the hardest part of himself, his late wife's wedding ring, the last piece of her he carried close. Each sale broke him a little more, but he never hesitated. Pride, possessions, memories, none of it mattered more than his daughter's life. Yet, despite losing so much, the hospital still turned them away. In that moment, Harold realized that love can sacrifice everything, and still not be enough when the world demands gold over heart. None of them noticed. At first, the small group of bikers parked across the street, leather jackets darkened by rain, engines cooling beneath them. To most, they would have looked intimidating, loud, even dangerous. But the men of the Ironheart's Brotherhood carried a reputation the world rarely saw one built on charity rides, community aid, and silent generosity. Their leader, Rex Dalton, was a broad-shouldered man with a salt-and-pepper beard and eyes that seemed to absorb every story without judgment. When Mara's medical papers scattered across the wet ground, it was Rex who stepped forward first, quietly helping Harold pick them up. He didn't ask questions, yet he understood everything. Pain recognizes pain. Struggle recognizes struggle. And when he read the words treatment declined due to incomplete payment, something shifted inside him. This was more than a stranger's misfortune. This was a call to action. Because some people don't just witness helplessness, they rise against it. After all, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they ride on two wheels. The next morning, the hospital lobby carried its usual cold routine keyboards clicking, footsteps echoing, empathy absent. But then a different sound arrived, low at first, a rumble, deep, steady, powerful, engines. Not one, not two, an entire chorus of them. The doors slid open, and heavy boots met tiled floors as the Ironheart's Brotherhood walked in like a storm with a heartbeat. Patients stared, nurses froze, and the doctor at the desk lost her practiced calm. Rex stepped forward, carrying an envelope filled not only with cash, but proof of overnight fundraisers, sacrifices, and strangers who believed one life was worth fighting for. "You could have helped her yesterday," he said, voice controlled but unshakable. But you didn't. The air tightened. No shouting, no violence, just undeniable truth wrapped in courage. This wasn't charity knocking politely anymore. This was humanity demanding to be heard. Treatment began, but healing. That began long before the medicine touched her veins. With every hospital visit, the Ironheart's Brotherhood walked beside Mara, not as strangers, but as guardians of hope. They brought home-cooked meals that tasted like warmth, laughter that softened sterile walls, and stories that reminded her she was still alive, not just surviving. The children's oncology ward, once painted in dull shades of silence, was transformed under their hands into murals of color, stars, and fearless little warriors. Rex often sat by her side without speaking much, simply offering presence, the quiet kind that carries strength. Her father, once bent under worry's weight, slowly found his smile again. And Mara, she began to rise, not only because of chemotherapy, but because a circle of unlikely heroes held her when she was ready to break. It was proof that sometimes recovery doesn't start in the body. It starts when someone refuses to let your spirit collapse. Months later, the hospital parking lot trembled once more, not with desperation, but celebration. Dozens of motorcycles roared in unison, a thunderous anthem of victory. Mara stepped outside, thinner than before, but glowing in a way illness could never steal. The scarf she once used to hide behind had been replaced with a small beanie, stitched with the Ironheart's emblem, a crown she had earned through courage. Rex stood nearby, arms crossed, eyes softened with pride. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of a reborn soul. You didn't just save my life, you restored my faith in people. Even the doctor who once turned her away watched from a distance, guilt written clearly on her face. She approached quietly, offering an apology with trembling humility. Mara didn't hold anger. She offered something greater: grace. Just promise me, she said, you'll never turn anyone away again. And for the first time, the doctor nodded, truly understanding.